Hey folks, so somehow you might have seen me loading those trees up. I've just recorded it, obviously I've not edited the video yet. I tried a few things. I reset all of the controls in the game to see if that helped with controlling the crane. I've still got this issue that on the control pad, a couple of the controls just don't respond. To do with manipulating the claw or the grab. So one of the rotations doesn't work, which is really annoying. So I did do all of that on the keyboard, which is fine. You know, not averse to using the keyboard to do stuff. But the problem with using the keyboard is every so often you get this thing where the controls lock. And that's not me making excuses, that is a reality. You might have spotted, if you were paying attention in the video, there was a moment where the crane just rotated through, I think like 180 or 270 degrees, and I wasn't touching the keys. So let's see what we're going to get for these anyway. 10 grand, that's not bad. We are slowly recovering our outlay. So that's pretty nice. What I'm going to do is head back down to the farm. We're going to call it a day there on the forestry for a bit. I think we'll hang on to the kit that we've got so that I can indulge myself. What I think we might do is plan to pick up the front loader for this, because I've got a vague recollection of a better log grab for the front loader that was a essentially a set of pallet forks with a grab on it, or we've got the mod that I installed, which I think is basically a set of straps, and I think you'll probably see Mr. CDP use something very similar to that a fair bit. So that'll make loading much easier because we won't be reliant upon my awesome crane skills. So yeah, I have been through and updated a bunch of mods. The one that might affect our driving issue that we had is the tire wear mod. Now, it's going to be hard for me to tell because in a true scientific engineering approach, I've also removed dynamic driving, which I think is more likely to be the culprit of the issue that I had, where we were sinking into the fields too far and struggling to make progress. And hey, in a world where progress seems to be going backwards, maybe metaphorically struggling to make progress in Farm Sim is just a reflection on life. But I don't think we'll dive any deeper into that little nugget of joy. So yeah, we have a few things that we need to tidy up. This could probably do with going up to the BGA, but I think we'll leave it for now. I need to work out what we're going to do. So I think it would be sensible, and maybe we can do, actually let's do that in the process. Let's give our fields a little checkaroony. So that needs pH. Okay, that's a job we need to do. Can we get through there? That needs nout, because it's soybeans and they're pretty benign. So that's good. Let's check. These guys are probably not far from being harvest ready, so we should give those a little look-see. I suspect they might need some nitrogen, but maybe not. No. They're good. Okay, awesome. We've got some lime spreading to do on the grass that we cut recently. Cool. Let's jump out here. Our first maize field is good. Awesome. Yeah, so I don't think much has changed in the Farm Sim world since the last video. It's only a few days later. Now, I would say this counts as 2 Farm Sim videos in a week, but technically this is going to come out on Monday. because I'm almost ahead on recording. Because this is only Saturday, so that's pretty good for me. I'm going to count that as a win. Let's just run along the back here and check on field 13. Yeah, I'm moderately ahead on my recording. Now next week's a bit of a weird one for me. I'm away somewhere different at the beginning of the week. So I don't know how the start of the week's gonna go. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so we need some nitrogen on that cornfield. So maybe a sprayer, because we haven't done any spraying in a while. So we've got that's all of our fields. Okay, so let's get this dropped off, because we're most of the way there now. And it's kind of impractical that it's a long way from anything. But that's fine. We'll check on the status of the animals. And then we'll make a plan. Because, you know, I didn't really start this video with a plan. And why would I? Why would I, folks? We'll just get on and do some stuffs. It feels like this is one of the few months we have a bit of flex. Check the status of those bales as well while we're up here. So this can live outside because it's a rental. There is a mod which increases wear on kits if you leave it outside. And maybe I should have a look at that so that I'm a bit less lazy with putting stuff away. But anyway, actually it's good because you can grab the lime spreader. 97%. Awesome. So those are nearly fermented. We might need those down at the farm. So let's grab that and run that down. So it was a good job we came up here. I knew that. It was all part of the master plan. And we seem to be making reasonable speed over the ground. So maybe it was either dynamic driving or the update to the tire wear mod that has resolved our issue. Because the tractor was one of the vehicles that... The John Deere tractor was one of the vehicles that was sinking into the ground and hampering our ability to travel. Is that the word that farmers like using? So yeah, that's cool. I'm always nervous actually about these mods that improve the realism of driving, because my experience is generally they go too far in improving realism. And particularly around game updates, things can get a bit funky. So, you know, maybe that was it. We'll see. Yeah, so we'll get this grass pasture back up to where it needs to be. Which means moving the truck and trailer, which is okay. So we need to check on the animals. So let's have a quick peek at those. Got a bit of manure stored up. So we could maybe relight the biogas plant. So maybe what we do in a two birds with a stone is let's get this guy running. Come on. And put this back into a trailer that can move stuffs other than bales and badly logs, or logs badly, because you know. And actually let's let's peek at these. So those are silage. Awesome. So we can now feed the cows again, which is always nice, you know. We've got a few bales of hay, and we need to make it through this month. And we've got the other grass pasture is cuttable. So we'll be able to make hay in June, which will be good. So let's put the sides back on this. We might as well make it 40,000. Yes, bosh. Okay, bang, bang. Let's jump in there. So I don't remember, and I'm not going to do it today because I'd like to make progress. I don't remember the last time I manually loaded a trailer with manure. Since they gave us the R button, it's been a bit of a bonus, hasn't it? That's an interesting fill approach. Yeah. Anyway, it's very pointy, very, very Madonna-esque at one point in her career. You know, very Madonna-esque at one point in her career. Obviously, she would have had 2 of those, but yes. Let's go deliver some manure, shall we, folks? That would be a good idea, I think. Random things that appear in your brain. Oh, so I think I mentioned in the last video, maybe, that I went and had physio. Well, I went to see a physio. They didn't actually do any physiotherapy on my shoulder. And they were meant to send me some exercises to do physiotherapy on my shoulder. They did not, but we live in a modern world now where you can... they diagnosed the injury, and so I was able to use that diagnosis to find the things that I need to do to begin rehabbing my shoulder. And it turns out the stuff that I was doing previously was the right stuff. It's just an injury that's going to take up to 12 weeks to heal. So yesterday I started again with doing the rehab of my shoulder. Today my neck is very sore because, you know, your shoulder's not that far from your neck, and I have an old neck injury. And one of the exercises is something which activates the muscles, which is likely to aggravate that old injury. They're muscles that I tend to avoid working when I go to the gym and that kind of thing, because it's very easy for me to end up in a reasonable amount of pain from trying to exercise them. So yeah, I need to avoid that one in the future. So I think we can hit that button for a bit. We have actually got some stuff stored up, so that's cool. And I think we'll get into the field. Hit H for GPS. My favorite letter of GPS, H. Alright, we need to unfold it. And off we go. If you're not a fan of Timberborn, that joke is way less funny. If you're a fan of Timberborn, that joke is moderately funny. In that game uses the letter B to copy things or duplicate them. And it's like dad joke level funny, which is the best level of funny. Speaking of dad type things, teenagers' car insurance is due for renewal next week, and I think I've mentioned she finishes university formally next week as well. She's finished all the stuff she needs to attend, but her course officially finishes 2 days post renewal of her policy. So you had to go through with the whole changing occupation from being a full-time student to currently being an unemployed bum, because she's yet to find a job. If you're not aware, graduate jobs are few and far between at the moment. So she's trying, very trying, Yes, I know, more dad jokes. The dad jokes are coming thick and fast today. But yeah, so and we've said, while she's trying to find a job, we will help support her and all that kind of thing, because we're trying to be moderately encouraging parents and all that. But anyway, so had to sort out renewing her car insurance because she's currently away on holiday. And I tried to update policy details online, to tell them that, and you could put I want to make a change from this date, and I put that in, and you need to chat to us. Okay, so did that. I had to wait until this morning to use their online chat thing to chat to one of their members of staff. So we need more details. Gave them exactly the same details. Well, I started talking to them. Like, we see you've put that you want to change her occupation. So, yep. And explained why. And they're like, we will need to make that change from now. I was like, well, no, because her course finishes on a certain date. That's why I put that date in. Didn't say the last bit because I was trying not to be a pedantic, can you change it from this date? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. Like I'd put in online. Expecting, and I'd looked online, and they tend to treat unemployed people as a higher insurance risk. So I was expecting the policy to go up, and they're like, waited 10 minutes on this online chat thing, expecting issues or whatever, and eventually they came back. Took absolutely ages, and eventually they came back with a very surprising that the quote had stayed the same, and it's not cheap to insure a 20-something-year-old in Essex with and it's only like a 1.4 Corsa. I mean, it's a Corsa, and it's a so young person in a hatchback does put the price up, I suppose. But yeah, it's not exactly like it's a fast car. But the insurance is slowly going down over time. But I was surprised it didn't put the price up. But like, all I gave them was the details I'd put in online, and it took like 40 minutes to go through this chat process with them to give them the same details for them to then give me a quote. And I'm sure it's because they wanted to update the policy from today to start charging us something, like to charge an admin fee or whatever. And pretty sure we've been with this. No, maybe we're on a different one. The previous policy she had when she went to uni, the cost increase was ridiculous, and the admin fee was ridiculous. And so I'm sure that's part of why they were wanting to do it, because they could slap on an admin fee on an insurance policy that's got 4 days left. It's like, no, technically she is still a student. And we had similar with her accommodation. So she's moved out of her university accommodation, but we've paid up until the end of June, and some of the people that she'd lived with are staying there, because I think one of them stayed on to do a master's, one of them is resitting that kind of thing, and so someone else has taken on the room that she was in this 4-room house. But we've paid up until the end of June. But she's moved out. She moved out there a couple of weeks ago, as I've mentioned. And so she was going to let the person that's moving into the room that she had put some stuff in there a little bit early. But she was and they wanted to do it a couple of days before she actually had managed to get all her stuff out. And she was getting super stressed about this. I was like, well, are we getting any of the money back that we've paid so that you can let this person come in early? Because it weren't cheap. And that kind of calmed her down a bit. Yeah. Like, we've paid for you to have that room, so no, you can stay there. It's fine. And it kind of all got sorted because one of the other people had moved out. I don't think they'd moved their stuff out, but they weren't there, so they put their stuff in that room. It was all fine, but it's like, you chill, because we've paid for you to have that room for more time anyway. So, yeah. I gotta say, I kind of figured that by the time she was... What's she now? 22... I'd be doing less of this kind of stuff. But I have a feeling that I'm going to be doing this kind of stuff for a long time. Now, it's not a problem. It's what parents do. But yeah, I don't know. I suspect she's going to be living with us for a while now. She's got some leads on jobs and stuff, and it's actually kind of cool having her back home, because it's kind of... So our relationship changed a lot when she went to uni, and it got a lot better. And it's been kind of cool when she comes home, because we tend to chat a lot more now. She's a bit older and stuff, so yeah, it's kind of cool now she's back home. But I think she finds it hard being back home with parents, having spent 3 years not having to be around parents and worry about time and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Anywho, yeah, I think today we'll just try and get this jobby done. My body is quite achy today. I did go for a run today for the first time in a while. So I was supposed to be running a marathon today. It was going to be an ultra marathon, if I'd trained for it, but I wasn't doing much running for the last quite a while, and I'd actually forgotten when it was. And I'd got the week completely wrong, and then I got the email last weekend, maybe early this week, reminding me that I'd entered this race. And so it's basically, okay, I guess I'm doing this having not trained for it. And then on, I can't remember what day, at some point, maybe like Thursday, I think it got cancelled. I was like, okay, that's cool. And I've swapped to an event which is a good like 5 months away, which is kind of cool for me, because it means I've now got time to get myself back in running shape. But I went running this morning for only an hour, and I'm really feeling it, because I haven't done a lot of exercise lately. Partly because my shoulder injuries kind of demotivated me, and partly just because I've not felt like exercising a lot lately. So yeah. Anyway, I'm supposed to be planning and talking about adult painting, I guess. Not really a lot more info about the new DLC. I think there's been... I'm not sure on the timing of release of those, so I'm not going to talk about those just in case. There has been a mod out. Someone's jumped on the fact that the Sky brand is now available, and the Sodkeep, one of my favourite first spreaders, has been rebranded, or a version is available now with the Sky brand. That's kind of cool. I guess we'll see more stuff coming out with that brand attached to it over time. And it's always nice when people take advantage of that. Yeah, there's some cool mods that have come out as well, but I've only half looked at them. a version of one of my favorite mods has come out. I don't think it's the same mod. I think someone has just taken inspiration from it, which is the sell price trigger mod. Because I think it's called something like price notifications or something like that. I don't think it was the sell price triggers mod. But I need to add that in, and basically it looks like it's very similar. It looks like it has a nicer interface, I've got to say. I did have a quick peek at it, and so that essentially does what it says on the tin. It was a mod that let you set notifications for when the prices of things, it looked like anyway, when the prices of things were what you want them to be, so that you know when to sell your stuff. And I've always found that really good, because particularly if you're skipping the winter, because, you know, quite a lot of us do, it can be quite easy to miss those good price windows. And yeah, having a mod like that is always just really handy for getting that. Or if there's, you know, if a great demand crops up and you suddenly get a really good price at the wrong time of year, it's really good for that kind of thing. There was an AI helper one as well, which intrigued me, but I haven't read enough of the details yet to really get to grips with it. So I need to have a look at that as well. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen a couple of farm tubers have done videos on Oz's latest mod. I hadn't seen those, but I did see Oz post about his newest mod, which looks kind of cool, where you turn everything into a constructible thing. Guys doing more genius work to make farms seem more interactive and curious and engaging. Yeah, more interesting stuff coming from Mr. Oz, if you like his work. So I did update a bunch of mods, including red tape. There was an update to that on Mod Hub, so I didn't look at what changed in it, and I haven't looked to see. Oh, I did look to see where we were. Yeah, we have our grant progressing. We're not going to find out until September, which might be an issue. The soybeans might go on the floor for a bit and then go into the silo while we wait to sell them. And I think one of the updates to red tape that's happened at some point in time recently is most silos now, if not all, have some kind of drying function built into them, which will be good given that we are going to be wanting to store some grains. I don't know whether to get rid of or keep Cartex grain dryer. We've got oats coming, we can dry them in there and sell them as dry oats, or whether we stick with the moisture system stuff now. You could comment down below and let me know before we get there. I'm always interested in your thoughts. Obviously, Cartex dry oats will be worth much more than, I think anyway, moisture system dried oats. I haven't looked, but Cartex is a very generous man. Very generous man. Oh, we better grab a thumbnail on this pass. Something that I'm very bad at remembering to do playing Farm Sim, because, and one of the reasons for why is the other game that I play, which I'm not sure how many of you Farm Sim fans watch, tend to take the thumbnail at the end. That doesn't work for this, so I have to try and remember in the middle. Yeah. So. But I think this is a nice little jobbed. We're in a better place for food now. We do need to cut some hay, but in June, the new pasture will be cuttable. And it'll be, well, it's cuttable now, but it'll be at full max length then, so that'll be good. And I think maybe we do both of the pastures as hay in the summer, and then we'll silage them again later in the year. And that should give us a nice stock of feed and feed for the BGA. Speaking of BGAs, it's still churning away. Cool. I'm sure there must be a mod which will notify me when they run out of stuffs, but not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. When we come back next time, we might sort out the fertilizer on the field that needs fertilizing. And then I guess we might be progressing into June to make that hay. My short-term memory is so bad, I can't remember if I just said thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. So if I did, I'm going to say it again. If not, thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. You guys are awesome. I will see you all next time for more Maypole Farm.